And that is my fault how, she snaps. You are the one who keeps crawling back to the poker table like it is church. I am the only one paying rent, Lena fires back. Every tiny grown-up thing in this apartment is mine. Arthur's laugh is ugly and wet. He waves the paper in the air. Something cold crawls up Lena's spine. What did you do? She asks, her voice dropping. Arthur stares at her like she is the stupid one. What could I do? He says. I used what I had. He points at her. You, he says. You are the collateral. For a second, Lena thinks she heard him wrong, that exhaustion has finally broken something in her brain. You sold my room, she says stiffly. My bed. My phone. What? Arthur rolls his eyes. I sold your future, he says. I sold your hand. Lena's stomach flips so hard she has to grab the back of the chair. You did not, she whispers. The name hits the room like a gunshot. Vincent Collio. You sold me to a mobster, Lena says, every word scraping her throat. For $5 million. Arthur bristles. Thanking you. Lena grabs the nearest thing, an empty mug, and hurls it at the wall. It shatters inches from his head. Arthur stands suddenly, his chair scraping back. Arthur snorts. Arthur's mouth curls. Then maybe I need a different daughter, he says softly. Before Lena can respond, a heavy fist pounds on the apartment door. Once. Twice. The frame rattles. Arthur flinches. They are early, he mutters. Damn it. Lena's heart slams against her ribs. Do not open it, she says. Dad, do not you dare open it. But Arthur is already moving, smoothing his stained shirt, trying to look respectable. The pounding comes again, followed by a calm, deep voice on the other side. Mr. Jones, the voice says. We have an appointment. The words slide under the door like a blade. Arthur unlocks the chain with shaking hands. The door swings inward. Mr. Collio, Arthur says, his voice suddenly syrup-sweet. Welcome, welcome. Please, come in, do you want a drink? This is her, he asks. Lena lifts her chin. This is me, she says. And I am not going anywhere with you. Arthur lets out a strangled laugh. She is just nervous, he says quickly. Lena, stop talking nonsense. Mr. Collio is doing us a favor. Vincent Collio finally looks at Arthur. Just a flicker, but it is enough to shut him up. Arthur exhales like a man who just escaped a firing squad. Thank you, he says, almost collapsing into the chair. Thank you, emitter. Vincent's gaze returns to her. Up close, he smells like clean cologne and gun oil, like money and danger. Lena's stomach twists. That is blackmail, she says. I am not quiet, Lena says. A corner of his mouth twitches, almost a smile, then disappears. Arthur lunges forward and grabs Lena's wrist. No, she says. Her voice cracks, but the word is solid as stone. Vincent steps closer. The room seems to narrow until there is only his chest, his tie, the steady pulse at his throat. You do not know me, Lena says. Her eyes burn, but she refuses to look away. I do not buy vases, he says quietly. I buy leverage. Then you bought the wrong girl, she snaps. Silence stretches. One of the guards shifts his weight, the floorboard creaking. Finally, Vincent sighs. You say that like it is nothing, Lena says. It is not nothing, he answers. It is a choice. You have about 10 seconds to make it. He looks at his watch like he is checking a meeting. He meets her gaze for a second. There is no apology there, no shame, only fear for himself. Lena's fingers curl into fists. Fine, she says, each letter a nail in a coffin. I will go. Arthur collapses back into the chair, sobbing with relief. You will not regret this, he babbles. You will see, Lena, Mr. Collio is a good man. You will live like a queen. She turns on him. We are done, she says, her voice low and shaking. After tonight, you are nothing to me. He flinches like she slapped him. Vincent nods once, as if that settles it. Pack a bag, he tells her. Nothing heavy. You will not need much. I am not your pet, she mutters. He lifts an eyebrow. We will see, he says. Her phone buzzes on the mattress. Mia's name lights up the screen. You alive, drama queen? It reads. I got us free fries tonight if you are still clocking in at the diner. Lena stares at the message until her vision blurs. She types with fingers that will not stop trembling. Something came up, she writes. I am leaving Brooklyn for a while. 3 dots appear, then vanish, then appear again. Are you okay? Mia sends. Because if your dad tried to sell your kidneys again, I swear to God. Lena almost laughs. It comes out as a choked sound. I will text you later, she writes. Promise. She does not hit send. Instead, she deletes the message and shoves the phone into her pocket. If she tells Mia anything, Mia will come here. Mia will fight. Vincent watches her. You ready? He asks. No, she says. But let us go anyway. He studies her face for a heartbeat, something unreadable flickering behind his eyes, then nods to his men. Bring the car around, he says. We are done here. As Lena walks past her father, he reaches for her, but she sidesteps him. Lena, honey, he says desperately. You know I love you, right? Vincent opens the back door of the car and gestures. After you, he says. She squares her shoulders and climbs in. The door shuts behind her with a heavy thunk that sounds, to Lena's ears, exactly like a cell door closing. Her life as collateral has begun. You can stop glaring at the window, he says. It did not kidnap you. Lena drags her gaze away from the city lights. Funny, she says. I do not see a kidnapping victim hotline sticker on your car either. That is because you are not a victim, he replies. You made a choice. I made your choice, she snaps. You held a gun to my father's head and told me to pick the bullet. I never said gun, Vincent says. But if you are missing one for the metaphor, I can arrange that. Lena stares at him. Is this entertainment for you, she demands. Buying people? Watching them panic? If I wanted entertainment, I would go to a club, he says. This is business. Keep saying that, she mutters. Maybe someday you will believe it. He almost smiles again, like he is surprised by her mouth, and not sure if he hates it or enjoys it. Tell me something, Lena, he says. What did you think would happen to your father if I walked away? He would have to deal with his problems himself, she says. For once. Lena looks down at her hands. That is the worst part, she whispers. I do not know anymore. Silence stretches between them. The city slides by in streaks of neon and rain. Us, she repeats. There is no us. There is a contract, he says. And there will be rings. That is close enough. I am not pretending to be in love with you, she says. Not for anyone. I would never ask that, he answers. I do not believe in pretending. She snorts. Right, she says. Because buying a bride is very honest. You will be safe, Vincent says. He says it like a fact, not a promise. No one touches what belongs to me. I do not belong to you, she says. His gaze flickers to the thin line of her throat, then back to her eyes. We will see, he says quietly. Is this your prison or your palace? She asks under her breath. Depends who you ask, Vincent says. Well, surprise, she thinks. You made it. Just not the way you planned. The car stops. One of the guards opens her door, an umbrella already waiting against the drizzle. A middle-aged woman in a tailored black dress stands in the doorway. Her posture is textbook straight, her gray hair pulled back into a low chignon. Anything? Lena mutters. How about a time machine? Elena's lips twitch, almost a smile. I am afraid the budget does not cover that, she says dryly. But we do have good coffee. Lena blinks. For a second, she likes this woman. Elena nods as if he just told her to adjust the thermostat. Of course, sir, she says. Dinner will be ready in 40 minutes. Would you like your usual? Later, Vincent says. I have something to discuss with our guest. Lena's stomach flips again. Guest. That is one word for it. Elena gestures with a graceful sweep of her hand. This way, Ms. Jones, she says. The East Wing is more private, Elena explains. Few people come here. You will have space. Oh good, Lena says. Plenty of room to scream. Elena actually laughs, a brief, warm sound. If you must scream, she says, I suggest using the soundproofed media room. They stop in front of a white door with a silver handle. Elena opens it and steps aside. Her throat tightens. I brought everything I own, Lena says. It fits in this backpack. Then you will need more, Elena says. Miller. Lena wants to say something angry, something about charity and control, but the words tangle in her chest. Thank you, she says instead, surprising herself. Elena inclines her head. I am not going to hide in here, Lena blurts. Elena's eyes warm in approval. Good, she says. Hiding does not work in this house. People find you anyway. What the hell did you do, Lena? She whispers to herself. A knock taps lightly at the door before she can answer. Come in, she says, because apparently her life is now open season. Vincent steps inside without waiting. He has taken off his jacket, his tie, his shoes. Lena's brain hates that it notices. You like the room? He asks. He leans against the doorframe, arms crossed. You are the first, he says. And if things go as planned, the last. She looks at him sharply. You really think I am going to play house with you? She asks. Smile for pictures, pretend this is a fairy tale? I think you are going to survive, he says. The rest we can negotiate. She laughs, a brittle crack of sound. His jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. You have been listening to too many stories, he says. My business is not your concern. It is when it kills people, she says. His eyes darken. I would rather have a father who did not sell me, she whispers. For a moment, Vincent's expression shifts, softer, sadder, then it is gone. Well, he says. We both know wanting things does not make them real. He pushes himself away from the doorframe. You sound like a salesman, she says. I am selling you a better life than the one you had, he says. Even if you do not want to admit it. I would rather earn my life, she says, not have it bought for me. His mouth tilts. Then earn it, he says. Pay me back. She blinks. What? You hate this arrangement, he says. Fine. Lena stares at him like he has grown a second head. You are insane, she says. I would have to rob a bank. Her pulse spikes. You are serious, she says slowly. I do not waste breath on jokes, he answers. If I take the deal, she says carefully, you do not touch my father, ever, for anything. He will not interest me anymore, Vincent says. His usefulness ended tonight. And you do not control who I talk to, she adds. I am not cutting off my friends. Lena chews the inside of her cheek. 1 year, she repeats. 5 million. A little less if you count the interest, he says. But I am not unreasonable. She hates that this sounds almost fair. Fine, she says. I will do it. I will pay you back every cent, and then I will walk away, and never look back. We will see, he says. He straightens. Dinner is at 7, he adds. We're something comfortable. No one at the table will bite. Is that a threat, or a promise, she asks. He gives her that almost smile again. You are safe here, Lena, he says quietly, even if you do not believe it yet. Rage. Fear. The faint, dangerous spark of hope. All right, Colio, she mutters. You want me to earn my freedom? Watch me. Lena discovers 3 things in the first week at the mansion. 3, boredom is a weapon, and she refuses to let it win. You are still at it, he asks one evening, shrugging off his coat. She does not look up. 5 million does not grow on trees, she says. Unless you own the trees and 3 sawmills. I do own a lumber company, he says. Good for you, she mutters. Maybe I will start carving luxury toothpicks. He leans on the back of her chair, glancing at the screen. You have skills, he says. You are organized. Persistent. You could do real work for me. And become one of your little soldiers, she asks. No, thanks. I am trying not to go to prison. That is a shame, she says. You would look cute in an apron. He lets out a quiet breath that might be a laugh. You are impossible, he says. You bought impossible, she replies. Sometimes, their banter is sharp enough to cut. Sometimes, it softens at the edges. The first crack in the story of the dead appears on a Tuesday, in the privacy of Vincent's office. On this particular afternoon, Lena is not trying to make money. She is trying to understand where it went. The debt contract her father waived in the kitchen haunts her. 5 million. So she starts digging. The paper in her mind had a logo on top, as stylized or with 2 lines under it. Rossi Enterprises. Tony Rossi. Of course, she mutters. Of course the villain has cheekbones. A file drawer clicks behind her. Lena jumps, spinning the chair around. Vincent stands by the door, tie loosened, eyes unreadable. You did not hear me come in, he says. I was busy, she answers, gesturing at the screen. Stalking your competition. He crosses the room in a few unhurried steps. His gaze flicks to the monitor, then back to her face. Tony Rossi, he says. The way he says the name is not casual. It is a diagnosis. Why are you looking at him? Because his company logo was on my father's debt, she says. And because his numbers do not make sense. Vincent's shoulders tense, almost imperceptibly. You remember the logo, he says. She clicks open a rough spreadsheet. Even houses have math, she says. And this math screams scam. She taps a key and brings up another window. Vincent's jaw hardens. What kind of solution, he asks, though they both know. Collateral, Lena says flatly. A house, a business, a daughter. He shuts his eyes for a moment, like he is listening to a distant echo. You think the 5 million was a trap, he says. I think you are not the only man in this city who likes leverage, she says. I think they saw you coming, or maybe they wanted you involved. His eyes open, sharp again. You are worth more, he says. She blinks. That is not the point, she says. Congratulations, Lena says bitterly. You are the prize, I am the ribbon. What kind of message, she asks. He stops. You did not think they were using him to get to you, Lena finishes. By getting to me. His gaze finds hers. So what do we do? Lena asks. Because if this whole nightmare started as a setup, I would like to return the favor. He stares at the screen for a long moment, his mind clearly a few steps ahead already. We find proof, he says. Paper. Audio. Anything that shows Rossi falsified the debt and used your father as a pawn. My father is a willing pawn, Lena says. He is not innocent. No, Vincent agrees. But you are. And Rossi made the mistake of touching you. Wow, she says. I almost believe you care. His eyes spark. Careful, he says. You might start thinking I am a human being. She rolls her eyes, but her cheeks warm. How do we get proof, she asks. Absolutely not, she says. You forget, I am excellent at digging. He gives her a look. This is not a diner rumor chain, he says. This is dangerous. So is being your wife, she counters. Let me help. I am the reason he thinks he is leverage in the first place. You are not a weapon, Vincent says. I can be, she replies. If you stop trying to wrap me in bubble wrap. He exhales slowly. Fine, he says. But you follow my lead. You do not go anywhere alone. If I say run, you run. She snorts. Do you practice these speeches in the mirror, she asks. Because you sound exactly like a mob movie boyfriend. He shakes his head, fighting a genuine smile this time. You watch too much television, he says. You live like it, she shoots back. At some point, Elena appears quietly with coffee and sandwiches, sliding them onto the desk like a ghost. Eat, she tells Lena. Revenge on an empty stomach never goes well. Lena almost chokes on her laughter. Yes, ma'am, she says. By midnight, they have more questions than answers, but the shape of something ugly is clearly forming. When Lena finally drags herself back to her room, her phone vibrates in her pocket. She forgot she turned it back on that morning. Mia again. Are you dead or married? Answer Y or N, the latest text reads. Lena stares at the words, then types back before she can overthink. Working on the married thing, she writes. It is complicated. Complicated? Mia replies instantly. Girl, what did you do? Lena smiles despite herself. I will tell you soon, she sends. I promise. She turns the phone off again. She is not ready to drag Mia into this storm. Not yet. As she lies in bed, the mansion quiet around her, she thinks of all the numbers she saw on Vincent's screen. The zeros. 5 million was never just about her father's debt. It was a move in a larger game. And for the first time, Lena is not just a piece on the board. She is learning how to play. The first person to show up at the mansion uninvited is, of course, Arthur Jones. Her stomach clenches. Sorry, she tells the accountant. Emergency. I will email you the rest. She hangs up and sprints down the hall, down the wide staircase, almost colliding with Vincent at the bottom. What is wrong? He asks, catching her by the elbow. My father is here, she says. At the gate. Vincent's expression shudders, going from relaxed to lethal in a heartbeat. Stay inside, he says. Like hell, she replies, yanking her arm free. Lena, he cries when he sees her. Baby, look at you. You look amazing. This place is amazing. She does not hug him. She does not move closer. What are you doing here? She asks. Arthur's smile flickers. I came to see my daughter, he says, like it is obvious. Is that a crime now? He glances at Vincent, hovering behind her like a dark wall. I wanted to talk to Mr. Collio, Arthur says. Man to man. You had plenty of talks with men before, Lena says. Over cards, over bottles. None of them ended well. Lena, Arthur warns, his tone slipping. Do not embarrass me. You already did that, she says. The night you sold me. The words hang heavy in the foyer. A staff member nearby pretends to dust a table, eyes firmly on the polished surface. Vincent steps forward, his voice soft but edged. Mr. Jones, he says. If you have business with me, you should have called ahead. I do not like surprises. Arthur forces a chuckle. Lena's blood runs cold. You are not doing this, she says. Tell me you are not here to ask him for more money. Arthur's gaze flickers between them. Stop, Lena says. You do not talk to me like that, Arthur snaps. I am your father. You sold that title, she shoots back. Along with my life. His face reddens. Enough, Vincent says. The word is quiet, but it slices through the argument. Arthur turns to him, seizing on the opportunity. You and I are nothing alike, Vincent says. I keep my word. You sell yours. Arthur bristles. You think you are better than me, he demands. You think she will stay loyal to you. Lena's throat burns. I am right here, she says. And I am done listening to you. You little traitor, he snarls. You choose him over your own blood? Yes, she says, without hesitation. I choose the man who did not sell me. That is enough, Vincent repeats, firmer. Arthur lunges, his hand lifting like he might grab her arm. He does not reach her. You do not touch her, Vincent says. His voice is ice. Not in my house. Not anywhere. You cannot tell me how to talk to my daughter, Arthur wheezes. I am not telling you, Vincent says. I am informing you of how this will go. He looks at Elena. Call security, he says. Mr. Jones is leaving. Arthur laughs, a high, broken sound. Lena freezes. You are working with Rossi, she asks. Arthur's eyes flash. Cooperate how? Lena demands. By selling me again? Arthur gazes up at her, his face twisted. Something inside Lena snaps. You are unbelievable, she says. You lost me the first time by accident. Now you are trying to do it on purpose. You owe me, Arthur growls. For raising you. You did not raise me, she says. I raised myself. The words come out like a verdict. Security arrives, 2 large men in suits with earpieces. They move to flank Arthur, waiting for Vincent's order. Escort Mr. Jones off the property, Vincent says. He is banned from this house. Arthur struggles, rage replacing fear. You cannot ban me from my own daughter, he shouts. I will be back. And next time, I will not come alone. Lena steps forward, her heart pounding, and says the thing she has been afraid to say for years. Arthur stops thrashing. For a moment, he looks like a cornered animal. You will regret this, he says softly. Probably, Lena replies. But at least, for once, I will regret something I chose, not something you forced. The guards drag him away, his curses echoing down the driveway. Silence settles in the foyer again, heavy and strange. Lena's knees suddenly feel weak. She sinks onto a bench, her hands shaking. You did well, Vincent says quietly. I am shaking like a leaf, she says. You still stood, he says. She laughs, the sound wet at the edges. I just cut off the last tie I had to my old life, she whispers. What if I made a mistake? Vincent sits beside her, not too close. She stares at her hands. You sound like you know about ropes, she says. He smiles without humor. You do not get to where I am without choosing which ropes to cut, he says. Lena draws a shaky breath. He said Rossi is not done with you, she says. With us. I know, Vincent says. He will make a move, probably soon. And my father will help him, she says. Because he would rather destroy me than admit he was wrong. Vincent's jaw tightens. Then we make sure the next move is ours, he says. You look like you need sugar, Mariah says, sliding a brownie toward her. You read minds, Lena says. Years of practice, Mariah says. What happened? My father came by, Lena says. He tried to sell me again. Mariah whistles low. Girl, she says. You need therapy, a lawyer, and a vacation. In that order. Add a bulletproof vest to the list, Lena mutters. You forgot one, Mia says. An idiot best friend who breaks into mob mansions to bring you snacks. Lena's heart leaps into her throat. Mia, she gasps. What are you doing here? Breaking every rule of common sense, Mia says, stepping forward with a grocery bag. But you said you would tell me everything. Vincent is going to kill me, Lena thinks. Then, oddly, she feels something like relief. And maybe, just maybe, Lena will not have to fight this war alone. If Vincent was annoyed by Mia's arrival, he hides it behind a glass of wine and the tight line of his mouth. That is the gist, Lena says. Mia nods. Love that for you, she says. 10 out of 10 drama. 0 out of 10 self-preservation. Vincent arches an eyebrow. You break into my house and criticize her survival instincts, he says. Interesting strategy. It helped, Mariah calls from the kitchen. Lena tries not to smile. Mia is staying in the guest room next to mine, she tells Vincent, bracing for a fight. He studies Mia for a moment. You understand this is not a safe neighborhood for civilians, he says. Mia snorts. I grew up 3 blocks from here, she says. The only difference is your recycling bins are bigger. He actually looks amused. You are loyal, he says. I am stubborn, Mia replies. And she is my family. If she is stuck in your soap opera, I am stuck too. You are not stuck, Lena says softly. You can leave anytime. Mia reaches over and squeezes her hand. Nice try, she says. I am not letting you have all the good lines without me. Vincent watches the exchange, something like respect flickering in his eyes. Mia salutes. Yes, boss, she says. I will even refrain from making you the villain in my next stand-up set. You are a comedian, he says, as if cataloging her. Part-time, she says. Full-time disaster. Lena laughs, tension easing from her shoulders. After the show, a tall guy with messy hair and a nice smile approaches their table. Hey, he says to Lena. You were in the front row. I saw you laughing at all the right places. I am Nate. Lena, she says automatically. Can I buy you a drink, Lena, he asks. Before she can answer, a warm, familiar weight lands on the back of her chair. Vincent's hand. She already has one, Vincent says, his voice mild and not at all mild. And she has plans. Nate looks between them, reading the situation fast. He lifts his hands. No worries, he says. Nice meeting you. He retreats, leaving Lena glaring up at Vincent. Seriously, she says. Could you be more obvious? You are in the middle of a war, he says. You do not have time for random men with dimples. Those were nice dimples, Mia notes. Stay out of this, Vincent and Lena say together, then glance at each other, both startled. You do not get to be jealous, Lena tells him. You bought a contract, not my heart. Jealous, he repeats. Do you think I am jealous of some kid in a thrift store jacket? Mia leans back, sipping her drink. You absolutely are, she says. Your jaw did that clench thing. It is practically a siren. Vincent scowls. My jaw does not have sirens, he says. It does now, Mia says. On the drive home, the teasing fades. The city blurs into shadows and light. What is wrong? Lena asks finally. Rossi moved up his schedule, Vincent says. He is planning something for Friday. That is 2 days from now, she says. I can count, he replies. Mia glances between them. Do I want to know? She asks. No, they both say. Friday arrives with rain. Lena wakes to the sound of thunder and the buzzing of her phone. A text from an unknown number. You should have kept your father close, it reads. Now you will watch him fall from a distance. Her blood goes cold. Vincent, she shouts, bolting out of bed. He is already in the hallway, hair damp, shirt half buttoned, phone in hand. You got it too, he says. Rossi, she asks. Who else, he mutters. Another text arrives. A photo this time. Arthur, tied to a chair in a crappy warehouse somewhere, looking more terrified than she has ever seen him. A timestamp, a location pin. Of course, Vincent says. He wants me to come. With me, Lena says. Or he would not have sent it to my phone. He wants leverage, Vincent says. He wants me distracted, emotional. Lena's heart is pounding so hard it hurts. We cannot just sit here, she says. He will kill my father. Your father chose this, Vincent says. He went to Rossi. He betrayed us. That does not mean I want to watch him die, she snaps. I do not have to love him to not want his blood on my hands. He closes his eyes for a second, then nods. Mia opens her door down the hall, hair a mess, wearing Vincent's branded hoodie she stole from the laundry. Excuse me, she says. Since when do you get to assign me to Team Stay Put? Since bullets are involved, Vincent says. You think I do not know how to duck? She asks. Mia swallows, nods. Fine, she says. But you both come back, or I will haunt you. In the SUV, as rain lashes the windows, Vincent loads a gun with calm, practiced hands. You have done this a lot, Lena says quietly. Do not romanticize it, he answers. It is not noble. It is messy. Are we really walking into a trap? She asks. Yes, he says. But we know it is a trap. That gives us an edge. Not a big one, she mutters. He glances at her. You do not have to come inside, he says. You can stay in the car. And let Rossi think you care less, she says. No. He started this by using me. I am going to be there when it ends. His jaw does that clench thing again. Fine, he says. But you stay behind me. And if I tell you to run, you run. No arguments. Yes, sir, she says, mocking. He does not smile this time. The warehouse is exactly where the pin said it would be. Of course it is. Rossi wants them where he can see them. You ready? He asks. No, she says. Let us go anyway. Ah, there they are, a voice says. Tony Rossi steps from the shadows like he rehearsed this moment in front of a mirror. Sharp suit, sharper smile. Mr. Colio, he says. You brought your bride. How romantic. Vincent's posture is relaxed, but Lena can feel the tension under his skin. Rossi, he says. You have something of mine. Several things, Rossi says, his gaze sliding to Lena. Debts, territory, people. Lena squares her shoulders. You inflated my father's debt, she says. You forged papers. You used me as bait. Bait that worked, Rossi says. Look at you, living in his house, eating his food, warming his bed. That is none of your business, Lena snaps. Everything about you is my business, Rossi says. You are the reason Vincent here played my game. He circles them like a shark, hands in his pockets. You know what I hate about you, Colio, he says. You pretend you are different. Vincent's jaw tightens. You are right, he says. Rossi blinks, thrown. You admit it, he says. Lena looks at him, startled. Rossi recovers, sneering. Very touching, he says. But too late. He snaps his fingers. Two of his men step out, guns raised, aimed at Vincent, at Lena. Another guard holds a gun to Arthur's head. You have always had a talent for poetry, Vincent says dryly. You should let him die, a small voice whispers in her head. She ignores it. Rossi laughs. The cops, he says. You think they will listen to you? A mobster's wife and a debtor's daughter? Rossi's eyes narrow. Lawyers, he says. Really, Vincent? You let her play with your toys? I gave her access, Vincent says. She is very good at finding patterns. Lena swallows. Even if they do, Rossi says coldly, you will not live to see it. He raises his hand slightly. The guns tighten their aim. Vincent moves. Lena has seen him dangerous before. Sharp words, cold eyes, quiet threats. Vincent shoves a gun into Lena's hands. Stay here, he says. Do not move. Wait, she starts. He is already gone, melting into the chaos. Arthur's chair tips, crashing to the side. He wriggles, eyes wild. Lena crawls toward him on hands and knees, bullets whistling overhead. You are insane, she mutters, mostly to herself. At Arthur's side, she fumbles with the knots binding his wrists. You really did it this time, Dad, she says, fingers slipping. You had to pick the most dramatic way to burn every bridge. He makes panicked noises around the gag. I am not doing this for you, she says. I am doing it for me, so I do not have to see your ghost when I sleep. The rope finally gives. She yanks the gag out of his mouth. Lena, he gasps. Baby, untie my legs, we have to. Shut up, she says, and stay down. She slices at the rope around his ankles with a piece of broken plastic. It comes loose. Can you crawl, she asks. I can run, he says, trying to sit up. Do not, she warns. You stand up, you are a target. Another shot sprays dust near them. Arthur flinches. Okay, he says. Crawl. Crawling is good. A shadow looms. Rossi. He steps around the crate, gun aimed straight at them, smile razor sharp. Touching, he says. Saving Daddy. How sweet. Lena lifts the gun Vincent gave her. Her hands shake. Put it down, little ribbon, Rossi croons. You are not going to shoot me. You do not know me, she says. Maybe not, she says. But I do not have to hit you. I just have to slow you down. She squeezes the trigger. Pain and fury twist his face. You little. He lunges forward. For a heartbeat, everything freezes. She looks at the gun, at Vincent and Rossi struggling, fists and blood, at her father cowering nearby. Then she kicks the gun hard, sending it skidding further, out of both men's reach. One less toy, she says. Vincent gets the upper hand, pinning Rossi with a forearm to the throat. You made a mistake, he says, voice low. Rossi smiles, even as he chokes. So did you, he rasps. You let her in. She is your weakness. Vincent's eyes flick to Lena. She is my leverage, he says, against men like you. Sirens wail in the distance. Everyone freezes. Cops, Rossi croaks. You called the cops? I did, Lena says. His eyes widen. You idiot, he spits. You have no idea what you have started. He is probably right. But right now, Lena does not care. Vincent's men pull Rossi up, cuffing him with zip ties. Others secure the warehouse. Lena, he babbles. Baby, thank you, I knew you would not let me die, I knew. She pulls away. Save it, she says. You are not off the hook. They also find Arthur Jones, shaking and sobbing. Lena steps forward before he can spin a story. Arthur gapes at her. Lena, he hisses. What are you doing? Setting you free, she says. From him. From this. From yourself, if you are lucky. Vincent watches her, eyes unreadable. I am aware, Lena says. But the target was already there. I am just drawing a circle around it so we can see it. He sighs. This is going to be a mess, he mutters. She almost smiles. My life has been a mess for years, she says. At least now, it is a mess with a paper trail. Later, back at the mansion, Mia barrels into her like a freight train, nearly knocking her over. You are alive, Mia yells. I am going to kill you. You missed the part where someone else almost did, Lena wheezes. Vincent stands a few feet away, arms crossed, watching them with an expression that mixes relief and exasperation. You disobeyed my order, he tells Lena. You told me to run, she says. I ran toward the problem. That is not what I meant, he says. You should be proud, Mia cuts in. She shot a guy. I slowed him down, Lena corrects. Same difference, Mia says. Vincent shakes his head. You are going to be the death of me, he mutters. Not today, she says softly. Something like a smile tugs at his mouth. Not today, he agrees. The weeks after the warehouse are a blur of court dates, meetings, and slow changes. Sometimes that is the only move you have left, Mia says. Do you think I should forgive him? Lena asks. Mia considers. Lena nods slowly. He snorts. I am not a superhero, he says. No, she says. But you have more power than most. You could choose not to use it to hurt people. He is quiet for a moment. I hurt fewer people than Rossi, he says finally. That is a low bar, she says gently. He laughs, a short, surprised sound. You never make it easy, he says. Do you want easy, she asks. He looks at her, and in his eyes, she sees the answer. No, he says. I want you. The words hang in the air, heavier than any promise yet. Lena's heart gallops. You want your leverage, she says, but there is no heat in it. He steps closer, until the railing presses into her back, and his hands bracketed on either side of her. And now, she whispers. She swallows. You are not a coward, she says. Sometimes, he says, when it comes to this. He lifts a hand, trails his fingers down her jaw, slow and reverent. I am very good at closing deals, he says. I am terrible at asking for things without guarantees. You are asking now, she says. Yes, he says, without guarantees. Her eyes sting. You bought me, Vincent, she says. You turned my life into a contract. I know, he says. If I could go back and undo it, I would. Then what are we now, she asks. If not collateral and collector? He takes a breath. Partners, he says. If you will have me. I still have the box, she says. He frowns. What box, he asks. She pulls away, goes inside, and returns with the small tin box of her savings. She opens it, revealing the crumpled bills, the coins, the few hundreds she managed to add with her new work. She presses the box into his hands. His fingers curl around the box like it is made of glass. Lena, he says softly. He stares at her, something raw and beautiful breaking open in his expression. In that case, he says, reaching into his pocket with his free hand, I have something for you too. He pulls out a small velvet box. Not the flashy red kind Arthur used to joke about, but simple and deep blue. Lena's breath catches. You carry that around all the time, she asks. I like to be prepared, he says. He opens it. Her throat closes. Are you seriously proposing on our crime boss balcony? She asks, tears blurring the city lights. He smiles, small and real. She laughs, half sob. You are ridiculous, she says. I am in love, he says simply. It has ruined my sense of timing. Her chest aches in the best way. Say it again, she whispers. I love you, he says. The words are simple. The weight behind them is not. She steps closer, so close their breath mingles. I love you too, she says. You infuriating, controlling, secretly soft idiot. I love you. His eyes close for a second, like he is absorbing a blow. When they open, they are bright. So, he says. Is that a yes? She nods, a laugh breaking through the tears. Yes, she says. On one condition. His brows lift. You are negotiating my proposal? He asks. Of course, she says. We rewrite the contract. No more ownership. No more leverage. We build something new, equal. His smile curves slow, dangerous in a different way. Deal, he says. He slides the ring onto her finger. It fits like it was always meant to be there. Below them, the city hums, unaware of the tiny revolution happening on a private balcony. I promise to fight with you and for you, she says. To call you out when you are wrong, to stand beside you when the world turns ugly, and to remind you, every day, that you do not have to be the man people fear. Vincent's voice is steady when he answers. When Mia pronounces them husband and wife, she throws in, you may now kiss the woman who literally shot a man for her father and still agreed to marry you. Do not screw this up. Lena laughs into Vincent's mouth as he kisses her. She does not see collateral anymore. Now, that man comes up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist, resting his chin on her shoulder. Penny for your thoughts, Vincent murmurs. You cannot afford me, she says. He chuckles. That is the best news I have heard all day, he says. She turns in his arms, looking up at him. No more debts, she says. No more debts, he agrees. Only promises. She leans up, kisses him under the strings of lights, and finally, fully, lets herself believe in a future she chose. Not as payment. Not as collateral. But as the woman who, against all odds, turned a $5 million mistake into the sweetest victory of her life.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.